Hi all, this is a really naughty trap called the elephant trap, and it's probably good for blitz chess. Really, maybe I should try these in blitz a bit more, these traps. This one, you know, it wouldn't leave oneself with such a bad position, which is always good news, if the trap isn't fallen into. I'm a bit reminded of the film Predator, actually, where the Predator was actually set a made trap in the first film. But actually the Predator actually sidestepped the trap, and the trap had to be manually triggered, actually. So that's but in chess, you know, why would we want to resort to traps to beat people? Well, maybe in blitz in particular it is good, because people are playing a bit casually, or they assume you've blundered. So there's no need to put on any fake facial expressions, etc. Just the speed of the game sort of implies it's full of mistakes. So you're playing black here, and it's as if you're playing the Queen's Gambit declined. So you play this ultra solid move e6, the old classical, which nowadays most GMs, and they're playing the boring Slav now, not hemming in this light squared bishop. But anyway, Queen's Gambit declined has survived the test of time. So bishop g5, and here instead of playing bishop e7 or maybe c6, which will sort of transpose into a Slav, you play the sort of provocative knight bd7, especially in blitz games, I would say. And if you don't know about this opening in general, it's a good idea to know about the minority attack, just in case, you know, White was playing very sensibly. Let's not get into that in detail, though. Say White now takes on d5, and he's looking at this pin on your knight, and he's thinking, this knight's pinned to the queen. So he unsuspectingly plays knight. He or she unsuspectingly plays knight takes d5, and here you don't mind your queen being lost. You just play knight takes d5, and after bishop takes queen, you play the really nasty bishop b4 check, which actually wins your queen back with interest. And in fact, after queen d2, checking with an engine, the most accurate move is actually not even to take the queen immediately, but to take on d8 with the king. So if you just take on d8, because you're going to win the queen anyway, there's no escape from this pin. And if White, takes on b4, then you take, and you're threatening another nasty tactic, knight c2 check. So that's the most accurate way of playing it. Or if you don't want any further sort of complications, and you want to make sure you win the queen, you can just take it immediately. You're just a piece up anyway. It's still winning. So it's a nasty trap in the Queen's Gambit declined. Probably good for blitz chess. I'm not sure I'm going to try it this evening, because I don't like the static pawn structures or the queenside bishop issue, to be honest. That's why I prefer the King's Indian defense. If I'm going to go for the opponent's king, I don't want to be sort of potentially defending a very solid but less dynamic Queen's Gambit decline position. But if I was in the mood for setting traps, then knight bd7, in this line of the Queen's Gambit decline is interesting. So say out of interest, c takes d, okay, e takes d5. When I mentioned the minority attack, so say they're sensible and they play e3, so you have to know your Queen's Gambit decline theory, and at the very least later to be aware that a very strong standard plan in this position is going to be later b4 b5, maybe rook b1 b4 b5, trying to fracture your pawn structure. So if you're going to play this trap, it's good to know the opening when the trap isn't fallen into. But if it is, great, you've just had a very quick easy victory just with this seemingly sloppy knight bd7 move. So they take on d5, and then they think your knight's pinned, so they play knight takes d5, and they're just losing an entire piece, because you win that piece, then you win the queen back, and then you win the bishop. And apparently it's been quite a while, this trap. It's been in existence since about 1880, and thousands of people have apparently fallen into it. mostly at the amateur level, of course. Although grandmasters as well make sometimes terrible mistakes in the openings. Annan lost the game very quickly once in about 10 moves. But usually, you know, these traps, I think they're especially good for blitz. And maybe if you're going to play them in over the board chess, you might. Also, the way you act them out might be good. The theatricalness of it. I think Stephen Fry's talked about the theatre of chess. You know, the reactions, the emotional look you would give, you know, certain moves and stuff. If you could act it out as well, it probably helps. Oh, you've just played knight bd7, but this is very naughty, and this is not really how I'd recommend playing the game in this kind of trappy way. It's a bit sly to do this sort of thing. Just bear that in mind. The purists, if you're going to play, you know, this gambit, at least know the Queen's Gambit declines some of the main plans. But bear in mind, you know, the repercussions when people don't fall into traps, and the potential damage you're doing to your position as well. Comments or questions on YouTube? Thanks very much.